European Parliament. I'm here today with Artis Pabriks MEP, Latvian MEP from the European People's Party.
Hello, Madam.
Artis, you are a member of the International Trade Committee, and yesterday you finally voted on the EU-Canada agreement. What was the result?
Well, I'm extremely happy about this result because it was convincing. We got 25 votes in committee for trade agreement, 15 against, and one mysterious vote which were abstaining. So it's a good result, really good result in these days when a number of countries are considering to close the doors and windows. We are opening it.
Terrific. Can you tell us a bit about the agreement? The Commissioner Malmström, has held it up as an exemplary agreement and something, a plan to follow in future with new trade agreements.
Well, it is a good agreement, at least for two reasons. First reason, it is geopolitically extremely important and good agreement because it is agreement between two parts of the world which are basing their policies and thinking on the same values and which have the same targets. Canadians and Europeans. And secondly, economically and from trade perspective, this is a very good example for many other trade agreements because we, as two parts which are thinking the same way, we could really meet most, if not all, of citizens' concerns which have been previously on the table about the trade agreements. So starting with such issues as GMOs and hormones and ending with also such contradictory issues as rights of big corporations to sue national governments and international court system. All these things are solved in this agreement which is called CETA between Canada and European Union.
There's been a lot of popular discontent. We've seen very big marches against TTIP and CETA, and like you said, those concerns are often related to standards. We've been offered reassurances. Are those standards, are the European standards going to be respected in this new agreement?
The short answer is yes. The longer answer is that, look, of course, it's important that we take into account people's concerns. But it's also important that people who are concerned, they are not living, as now it's popular to say, on the alternative facts. They should read the document and they should listen to the arguments. And this trade document has been online for more than 2 years. And this document really contains explanations. So please follow the facts and trust that we are really doing our job correctly.
What is this going to deliver in terms of jobs and growth? We've been constantly promised that this will be, bring economic advantages, bring jobs to Europe. Will you guarantee this?
Yes, we can. First of all, we can see that basically trade agreements are meant to facilitate the wealth. It means that once we are following up any kind of trade agreements, even not so good as CETA, we can see that in the longer term they're giving more additional wealth. But trade agreements never guarantee the equal distribution of the wealth. This is the responsibility of national governments, of us politicians here on the place. Secondly, trade agreements are extremely important for small and medium-sized businesses. Because at this moment, small and medium-sized businesses in trade, for instance, with Canada is only about 1%. So just like international organizations, trade agreements should support smaller players. And we hope that because of this trade agreement, small and medium-sized businesses will flourish. Thirdly, in Europe, about 14% of employment is based on the industries which are connected with export and trade. That basically means if trade and wealth goes up, this size will increase. Yes, this trade agreement is not panacea for everything, but it will definitely move us into the positive direction.
Commissioner Malmström yesterday said trade is worth fighting for. We see a new openly protectionist President of the United States, Donald Trump. Is this a threat or an opportunity for Europe? He wants to close the borders in a sense, and we're still trying to open them. Is that right? Is that the right approach?
I think that our approach is right, because it's very sad to hear that our major partner across Atlantic is now considering to become more protectionist. I really believe that this is a mistake. It's my personal conviction. And I think that this is putting also a little bit of shadow on all the Western world, because if we are becoming protectionist, we are actually leaving the good standards in the hands of those countries and regions which do not have such a good standards, which want the trade deals to be simple and not to include the issues of environment or social rights or other things. So this is bad for the world. But of course, this is also the opportunity for European Union, because if United States are now reconsidering, we should take the chance and move forward. We can be in that place and we can deliver.
This year you've got a very packed agenda in the Trade Committee. You've got Mercosur, Japan. Are those agreements a bit like, in a sense, NAFTA, for example? I don't think Americans are worried about Canada because they're high labor values. They're more worried about Mexico because of cheap labor. Will we have the same concerns with Japan versus Mercosur? Japan is seen as a high value economy, there's more of a level playing field in a sense, whereas Mercosur, people feel threatened by lower wages from poorer countries.
I don't think that we should worry in Europe about such issues, number one. Secondly, also with our common market, we see differences where we have a positive impact from the common market and also a negative one, because we can see that labor from such countries as Latvia, for instance, is moving to Ireland, and we can't do much there because, yes, salaries in Ireland are higher than in my country. But of course, there are some other benefits that our companies can get from this common market. As far as the EU issue and, let's say, employment in general, we must also undermine wrong alternative facts that the trade agreement actually is taking away working places. It's in fact not true, because even if we are looking to American statistics, we can see that in the last decade, 85–86% of jobs were lost, not because of trade, not because of NAFTA, but because of robotics and automatization. So this is the thing where we are entering the new technological revolution. Don't blame trade in this.
The Commission are looking at a multilateral trade resolution court, dispute resolution court. That's been put forward by Commissioner Malmström and the Canadian government. Is that something that your committee will be supporting as it's developed?
At this moment, we already did support, and actually this court system developed exactly because of our negotiations and discussions in depth about this. And this court system basically means that there are certain issues where national courts not always can solve. And in this international court system, for instance, if we look at CETA, then here Canada and European Union will equally send judges, qualified judges to this court. And if there will be, and I don't think there will be many, if at all, but if there will be any kind of surprises, then these judges will deal with this. So again, we are taking away doubts from the public that there will be some kind of corporations which are buying judges and the judges are doing something in the sovereignty of states or their interests. This is not true at all. So in this case, it will be our governments who will send their judges to represent them if the need will arise. But I don't think there will be very much need in this case.
TTIP. Certain amount of progress has been made on TTIP, but we seem to be in a hiatus due to the new presidency. Do you think that's going to come back to life, or do you think that it will be substantially delayed for quite some time?
Well, it will be delayed, but at the same time, we must understand that to dance, either tango or Vienna Waltz or whatever, we need two. And at this moment, we have to look what exactly will be the position in Washington and White House. We don't know that. So in order to proceed further with TTIP, we really need to understand what Americans are thinking. Will they also be willing to close windows towards Europe, or they will be willing to open? In any case, me as a representative of EPP Group and Trade Committee, I would really encourage United States to join in a trade agreement with us.
And finally, what can we do, what can you do as an MEP to get the message out to citizens that this is a good deal, it is good for them? Like you say, there seems to be a reluctance to look at what this agreement actually contains and whether it does actually contain any threat at all. How can we get a more positive response?
Look, we politicians, we are funny animals, and we depend on public opinion just like you media. And in this case, we must not be afraid of difficult questions and of these concerns. We have to go and we have to talk, and talk honestly about these things, because politics is about trust. If I can convince my electorate at home, in my country, in Latvia, then I believe my colleagues can convince electorate at home in their countries too. So let's not shy and hide behind the walls and behind the problems. Let's go on.
Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you, Madam.